Hello everyone, Joakim from Sabaton here. You are watching The Age of Metal. See you on the road.
Came ashore, heeding Leonidas' call. The Spartans went to war. Joined by the brothers of you against the fateful horde, Hellenic hearts set aflame.
Joakim of Sabaton, doing a North American tour after a couple of years. You guys went here last time with Nightwish.
Yeah, I forgot or something like that.
And now you're touring with reviewing a new album. How's the tour going so far?
Very good, I must say. Better than expected.
Really?
Yes. People are very friendly, even in the places we've never played before. Which is usually, it can be a little bit scary going on stage on a, Tuesday in Little Rock, Arkansas. You never even played anything anywhere close to it.
Right.
Of course, it takes a little while for the crowd to get used to the village people in camo pants, but in the end, it's been good.
How's been the reception of the Trivium fans? Because this package is a little bit different from what Sabaton have done before. Last time was Nightwish, a little bit more crowd related.
Yeah.
Trivium is a little bit more of a mainstream band. How's been the reception from those fans?
I will see a few being properly shocked, to be honest. But in general, I think I think Americans are, in a way, more open-minded for, genres not fitting together 100% on tour packages. Europeans are pretty, kinky with that thing. They really need it to be the same kind of music or they're not going to be interested at all.
Okay.
But it seems like the Americans, and to be fair, the British as well, are a little bit more open-minded. So far so good, I would say.
Probably because of the density of bands that we have here that range from mainstream bands to second tier, third tier bands that are coming from Europe as well.
Yeah, as well. Right? And a whole bunch of tours going on at the same time as well.
Alright. And how this set list looks like for this tour, because with the new album out, I'm asking this because it's going to be kind of a mixed set list, or it's going to be more focused on the last time?
Actually, if you give me 1 second, here, viewers and listeners, I'm going to give you a little bit of a look here, what we've been doing. Obviously, we don't do exactly the same every night. We try and switch it all around as much as possible. And seeing as there are so many songs, I can't talk that much, which is a big sacrifice for me, by the way.
Right.
Now, but we got, as you can see here, we got Sparta, a lot of Bannock Burn, Lost Battalion, and Winged Hussar. So 4 songs of the new album in a 1 hour set, which is pretty much a lot, actually.
How has been the response of people towards the new songs? And so far the album has been out almost a month. People still digesting, people still discovering it. How has been the reaction from the American crowd to those songs?
Better than expected, actually. I'd say once again they were quicker to adapt to the new stuff than the Europeans were. To be unfair, but to be fair though, you had about a month longer to adapt, get used to the songs than when we played the singles the first couple of times, And I'd say though that pretty much those are the ones that have been given the most attention, except for the obvious, Primo Victoria and To Hell and Back.
Right, Million Sons. Now, last year when you guys came with Nightwish, we were talking about where you guys were on the album and the ideas, and at that time I think you said it was not clear at the time, and now on this album we see Sparta, we see World War II, we see Scottish independence war, the Anglo-Zulu conflict, we see the sack of Rome, the Soviet-Afghan conflict, the end of the samurai era, the Polish hussars. and World War II again. And this is like a bunch of different historical points that are not related to each other, but they're related on the fact of war.
Yep.
How do you go, or how the research process go at the time to look at the subject case for, at the time to create the album?
Well, we actually had something else totally in mind just until 1 month or 2 months before the album.
Oh.
But we really couldn't get that topic to fit with the music that came out at that time. So we decided to switch it to The Last Stand, which me and Per talked about back in, I think we were writing the lyrics for Heroes already. So I guess it's late 2013 we're talking about now. We came up with that idea. And we thought of it as a mini EP first, but then we thought, no. This is the subject. This is what we should do. So we steered the album onto the concept of The Last Stand, and in a sense, I would say we already had 2/3 of the stories, from the top of our heads or in our mailboxes already. We have had so many people mailing us or giving us books. Thanks for that, by the way. Everyone watching. So, for example, the song "Last Battalion." It's about the 77th Division. They I think were New York based around that area, and this is World War I.
Yes.
How they're stuck, and we got that book called "The Lost Battalion" actually from a guy in New Jersey called Mike. He gave us the book. You should check this out. And then when we thought, Lost that, of course, obvious things like Thermopylae,
Right.
Spartans, and I would say the samurai as well. A few came into our heads immediately.
Wow.
But then we thought, well, that book, wasn't that about, and then started research. And that's why I think it felt so fresh for us to do as well, because it was, most of it was new material to us. It's not stuff we read 6 months ago. It's stuff that we just discovered and we're, excited to tell.
Wow, because it's a lot. It's a lot of different. This album is more broad on the subject matter,
Oh yeah.
Yes, a little bit more centered.
We have over 2,000 years of warfare,
Exactly.
almost 2,500 years.
Exactly. So it's incredible to see how the research process go on that, because it's a lot of subjects. Now, Judas Priest, All Guns Blazing. Pretty much the song fits a Sabaton theme.
Yes.
At which moment you guys decide to include a cover into the album?
We just wanted to do it, there are stuff that we all grew up listening to, and of course, Painkiller being one of the, I think it's the most iconic. If I think heavy metal, and nothing else, I
Yeah.
think Painkiller is what,
Of the heaviest song.
that's what I would play to anyone wondering, what is heavy metal? It could be Metallica's Black Album, it could be
Right.
Painkiller.
Mhm.
I mean, so for us, easy choice. I grew up on that. Tubbe already did a cover of it before, so he's
Right.
doing the high-pitched vocals.
Mhm.
I'm doing the not so high-pitched vocals. So he did it as duet instead.
Now, on the difficult part of the album, because creating these albums is always not only challenging, because you guys always get your sound, the guys you guys create, but also putting the stories on it. What was the most difficult part at the time to create The Last Stand?
Ooh, I had to think about that. Actually, it would have been until we find the story for the last song, The Last Battle, which is about the German and American army joining together to fight the SS to free and save French prisoners of war from execution. And that story was kind of, we're talking about Last Stand. That's usually a pretty desperate situation.
Right.
But that song has a pretty happy mood to it somehow, So we were thinking, how are we gonna get, this to match the music anything? So we had to look quite hard and long time to find that story that actually matched the music, because and I think it's a perfect way to end the album as well with it's kind of of course it's sad, it's war, but it's kind of cool. It's the only time the Wehrmacht and the US Army fought on the same side,
Right.
and we were back in World War II, where we usually belong.
Yeah. Well, I think with this album we can say that you guys belong on the warfare area,
Yeah.
regardless of which one it is. You guys been doing Swedish history, all these different parts of history, different parts of the world. So it's just really extend
Yep.
to just the warfare subject. Now, the Billboard rankings came out a week after the album was released, and you guys' entry ended up on 63, number 2, number 4, and number 19 in different Billboard listings. How do you feel about that? Is it something important for Sabaton? Is it?
Actually, I'm happy about it. All of these things are, it's rather a strength of the metalheads
Right.
than us, because I can see that with so many other, I meet people who does other kinds of music, other artists, and they can do pretty good shows and pretty big numbers, and a lot of people listening to them.
Mhm.
Not a lot of people actually paying for the music, if you know what I mean. So I have to say, in that sense, it seems, if you look at the charts, it's not only in America. You look in Sweden or in anywhere in Europe, metal bands are charting pretty high.
Yes.
But let's be honest, heavy metal is not the biggest music genre there is. On the other hand,
But is it bigger in Europe than?
way bigger in Europe than here.
Yes.
Probably if we talk about Finland, it could be one of the biggest metal music genres. But at least it seems like people are way more. The fans are more loyal. I would say, both if it comes to buying an album, coming to shows, meeting.
Sure.
Yeah.
Merchandise. All right. Now, Toby left Sabaton last July at the Sabaton Open Air on your hometown in Falun. And the new guitar player was announced as Tommy Johansson,
Yeah.
which is mean Rain Seed, I
Yeah.
think. I don't know if he's still doing that or not. How did Tommy got big?
Well, that was kind of easy. We had him in mind already in 2012. He was one of the names that
really?
popped up when we were going different ways with our old band members, So he was one of the ones we were in discussion with. He wasn't even able to join at that time, though.
Mm-hmm.
So we thought, actually, before we even go and do auditions, we don't like that,
Right.
I want good people. In the case with him, it's a very easy choice, because I met him coming up to Sabaton shows, paying for tickets, because
Right.
he loves the music.
Right.
That says something,
Yeah. Of course.
If you want somebody in the band, it's got to be somebody who really loves the band and the music.
And knows he's familiar with that.
Exactly. So for him to learn the songs, he didn't have to listen much to get familiar with Prima Victoria, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, of course. Nice. Now, Sabaton Open Air, it's coming up next year to the 10th anniversary, and I'm seeing a new kind of format pattern on festivals, not fest, epic fest, festivals that are created by bands, that are not created by individuals like Backend or Hellfest. How do you see this new kind of rising of band having their own festival, regardless if it's a traveling festival or it's a stationary festival in a place?
For us. But in our case, anything has been solutions to problems, or an idea we had that we felt was alright.
Mm-hmm.
For example, we started out 10 years ago when we were releasing The Art of War. We wanted to do a release party, and we didn't want to do it in the small pub. We couldn't find a place, and anyone would to book us.
Right.
So we rented a place and made our own festival. We invited bands we toured with. We invited friends, from other bands we played with over the years. Younger, smaller bands from our region, hometown of that region, who we thought didn't get enough attention. And we made a small mini festival with them.
Right.
And that's kind of what we're doing. Probably about 5 or 6 times bigger now.
Yeah,
But and that's the same thing with the Sabaton Cruise. We've been doing that since 2009, I think.
Uh-huh.
And that one came about basically because we were going between Sweden and Finland to do a show. And Per thought it was too fucking expensive to send to get back in those days we didn't have
the money
and everything. And like, we need cabins for everyone, and for the tour bus, and for the trailer, and the truck. Oh man, this is gonna be insane. And otherwise we'd have to drive all the way up, above the polar circle and down again. And we figured, like, can we? There are cruises with special events on. Can we charter the ship and do our own cruise and see what happens? And it's actually been sold out every year.
Yes, that's what we hear. That's interesting.
So we were even before 70,000 tons of metal,
Yeah,
actually.
of course. That's what I actually was thinking. Now, you not only released the Sabaton album, but you also guest in 2 new albums, which are the new Pain album. You work with Peter on the song Call Me,
Yep.
and with Twilight Force and Heroes of Might and Magic.
Yes.
It was interesting because I saw them at 70,000 tons. It's a spectacular band. It's
That
very
is
fun.
crazy.
So how do you end up working with Peter and how do you ended up working with Twilight Force? Because they're 2 different.
Oh yes. But I did that. I never actually charged any band money for singing with them in my career, except Sabaton, of course. No, but it's with the case of Peter. Of course, he was doing Pain at the same time and writing lyrics at the same time as we were recording the album.
Right.
And he's a great friend for many years, and I always kind of liked, especially now later, what Pain has been going into, because it's now moving into, you never know what to expect. It
Right.
could be pretty much anything going on those albums, and that's kind of cool, I think. And when it comes to Twilight Force, that's easy. They're friends. They're from the same time, most of them. Christian, the singer, he's the guy who screams on Metal Crew for our 2006 Artero Dominatus,
Yeah.
He's been doing backing vocals for us on most of our, not all of them, but most of our albums
That's
for
interesting.
10 years now. One of the guys playing keyboards has also once in his career played keyboards with Sabaton many years ago.
So you guys are kind of related in the same circle.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now with the cruise, coming up the 10 years of the Sabaton Open Air, the new album, the upcoming tour in Europe with Twilight Force in 2017. What else is up from Sabaton? I mean, what is you guys having to play that you guys
Isn't that
haven't
enough?
done? I don't know. I can't even see it because you guys always come with something different. So that makes me think, what is the next crazy thing that Sabaton going to come up with?
Next crazy thing. I can't tell you, not because I don't want to be secretive, but I don't know yet, actually.
Okay.
But we are in the mood, in the mood, or on the move all the time, actually. And in a way that feels good. We're never really static. We don't go home and, say, okay, we've made some money, let's now do nothing for 6 months until the money runs out. And when you're out of money, then you start to think about making a new album. We're always ahead of things with the planning. So I can honestly say, I can't say exactly date by date. But we know pretty much what we're going to do for the next year.
Okay, that's good. That's good to know. Well, definitely looking forward for whatever it is. And I know it's going to be a great idea and crazy heavy metal idea. So definitely looking forward for that. And looking forward for the new songs tonight, of course, of you guys. And definitely for the show. Thank you very much, Joakim.
Thank you.